Hi, I'm Christine, and welcome to this prenatal yoga class for the second trimester of your pregnancy. I am currently in my second trimester of my second pregnancy, and I'm at about 22 weeks pregnant right now. So, welcome to mamas and welcome to babies. So, I do find that pregnancy is sort of the ultimate in the practice of learning to listen. But even more specifically, it's also an ultimate practice in learning how to respect what we're hearing when we're listening. So I tend to be someone who really kind of pushes through. I try to keep up a certain pace. I try to maintain certain rhythms. I try to keep up with certain activities. And it's been just an experience, both in my first pregnancy and now in this one, to constantly uncover these layers of deeper and deeper and deeper listening to my body, but also learning how to take that listening and transform it into actually respecting what my body is saying and respecting my energy levels as well. So, in today's practice, I want you to really approach this as everything I'm saying is just a suggestion. These are just recommendations, these are just suggestions, and really listen to your own body, respect where it's at, adapt where needed. And if ultimately the practice just doesn't serve you in your pregnant body, that's okay. You don't have to do it again, right? So really find that respect for yourself so that you can really listen in. Today's practice is one that really suits my pregnant body. It's something that helps me to keep my lower back and my pelvis open and strong as my body expands. And one thing I have definitely learned in talking to so many other pregnant mamas, we all experience pregnancy differently. So this is what's working for me. It may not be what you need. And that's what I think is the ultimate purpose of today's class, is to explore it with me and really listen. So let's get started. You're going to need a few props. I've got today a bolster that I happen to be sitting on so that my hips can be elevated higher than my knees while I do some seated stretching. I've got a couple of blocks. I've also got a blanket because I've noticed that during pregnancy, I find it tricky to put my knee directly on the ground. So if you find that your knees are sensitive directly on your yoga mat, even if they used to not be an issue, get yourself a blanket or some other soft cushioning that you can put underneath your knees. And I do have a couple of pillows nearby for a side lying shavasana at the end, just to have a little bit more comfortable as I lay on my left side to rest. So you can go grab those props now, come back and join me. We're going to start by seating. We're going to start seated. We're going to start by sitting. I'm on my bolster. You could be sitting on your block or a folded blanket or a pillow, whatever gives you the most ease and comfort. I'm in a cross-leg position where I just have one ankle in front of the other here. I find that that gives me the most ease in the pelvis. And close your eyes and place your hands on your belly. And just take a moment here to connect not only with yourself, but with this light that is growing inside of you. Smiling in gratitude for every detail of this experience, your ever-changing body, your growing and developing child. Even gratitude for the challenges, the layers that get peeled back of your own thoughts and worries, of your patterns, all of the complexity of preparing for the arrival of a child. You can place your hands now together at your heart. Thumbs against the sternum, fingers fanning out from that place. Take a deep breath into the space of your heart, letting it lift up into your hands. On the exhale, gently bow your head in towards your fingertips. Feel that exhale on your fingers. Opening your eyes, inhale and sweep the arms up overhead. On the exhale, just arch over to one side and we'll stay there for a couple of breaths. So you can rest on that hand, that bottom hand, as you reach long out of the top hand, creating a little bit more space in both sides of the body. It tends to feel very short in an expanding body. So see if you can create a little bit of length, a little bit of space between the rib cage and the pelvis, even on the bent side. Deep, full breaths as much as you're capable of. Inhale, sending both hands back up overhead. Exhale as you bring yourself into the other side, just leaning into the supporting hand, reaching out of the lifted hand. Even the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. And try not to either roll your chest forward or lean it too far back. Just literally going to one side here. Lifting ribcage out of pelvis and breathing deep and long. Good. And again, inhaling up. Exhale, hands back down the center line to your heart. You're going to rest your hands on your thighs or your knees. And we'll do some suki grinds. So just inhaling as you bring your chest to the side, forward, and then to the other side. And then exhaling as you sort of scoop back, hugging the baby in towards your spine, moving to the other side. So you're going around a big circle, inhaling up half the circle, and exhaling around the back. This is great for warming up the spine a little bit, getting some movement through the pelvis and the lower back. And your movements may feel a little different now in your second trimester as your body is actually beginning to expand and show that pregnancy to the world. And change directions. You're still exhaling when you go back and inhaling when you come forward. Good. One more big circle around. Good. You can find yourself back to center. And we're going to do an adapted flow. So you can move your props away. We'll keep the blanket nearby for the knees. And we'll take the blocks and you can bring them up near the top of your yoga mat. One on either side tends to be good so that they're there if you need them in a little bit. So slowly find your way up to standing at the top of your yoga mat. And you're probably already feeling that it's a little bit steadier for you to stand with your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. So hip distance tends to mean the bony protrusion in front, and we put the middle of the foot under that spot as our center of gravity shifts, as our pelvis widens, and as the belly needs a little bit more space when we fold forward. We tend to find it a little bit more stable and comfortable to widen, more like to your pant size, right? You can stand like that up at the top of your mat. And your feet are parallel, tailbone gently tucking, belly being hugged in. And then inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands down the center line to your heart. Inhale, heart lifts into the hands. And exhale, settle. Good. Again, inhale, sweep the arms up. And then this time, swan dive down over your legs, coming down, resting your hands on your shins or the ground. Inhale, coming up halfway, think flat back. Think about your tailbone reaching back, the crown of the head reaching forward. And just pull energy up your feet into your legs so that your legs are awake and you're not just kind of collapsing into any joints. The kneecaps can even pull up into the thighs. On an exhale, see if you can go a little deeper into your legs. You're always welcome to bend the knees if you need to, getting your fingertips to the ground. Maybe you find here that you need to open your feet a little wider even. That's fine. Breathing into the backs of the legs as you lift your sit bones up a little higher. Good. I'm going to start to bend the knees a little bit more and get ready to step your left foot back, coming towards a lunge position with the left foot back. And you can rest that left knee down, and that's where you might find having a little cushion for your back knee can be really helpful. And we'll bring the hands to the inside of the right foot, and just maybe even walk your foot even further to the right so that you've got lots of space here. And you can either be right on your hands or like right on the floor, I should say, or you could lift your hands by putting the blocks underneath them, right? Just see what feels most appropriate for you in your pelvis today. And then squeeze that right knee in towards your tricep, just so there's a little bit of energy in that right leg. And then just kind of sway your hips side to side and even forward and back. So almost like you're drawing a U with your pelvis. Just helping to open up through the hips a little bit here, broadening out in the pelvis. I do find that for my pregnant body, slower is definitely better. Quicker movements just mean that I have a little bit less control over them. And I do feel that my body is demanding that I keep some control in those movements. So slower gives me an opportunity to do that. So keep in mind that I am not a prenatal yoga teacher. I'm not certified in prenatal yoga. I am just a pregnant yoga teacher who has been taking some prenatal yoga classes. So I'm learning a little bit about how to continue my practice in my pregnant body and hoping that I can share some of that with you today. For a more complete prenatal yoga experience, please do seek out a certified prenatal yoga teacher. We're going to start to shift the hips back so that you're essentially standing on the back knee and your front leg's going to start to straighten. You might want your blocks for this one as we come into a hamstring stretch. All right, I'm going to slide my right foot a little bit more forward before I start to straighten out the right leg. So it's a straight leg still off to the right a little bit. And then isometrically pulling that heel towards me so that my leg is still energized a bit. One thing we do need to be careful of in pregnancy is the hormone relaxin, which just means that the joints are all getting a little bit looser, and we need to be sure we maintain some muscular energy while we stretch the belly of the muscle so that we don't end up overstretching the joints. You can even pull your right hip back a little bit, roll your shoulders back. And on an exhale, maybe you'll feel that you can bow down a little bit more, getting deeper into your stretch. Keep your toes pointing straight up. Good. And start to bend your right knee again. Just move your blocks to the side for the moment. Make your way into a downward dog. So I like to just take that right leg back first, tuck the toes, and then pick up the knees and pick up the hips. Your feet can be a little bit wider than usual in your downward dog as well. Might give you a bit more stability and feel a little bit more comfortable for your belly as it moves back towards your thighs. Roll those shoulders away from your ears. Press actively through the hands. The fingers are spread wide. You're pressing down through the index and the thumb. You can have your heels lifted a little bit as you really get that tilt in your pelvis where you lift the tailbone up a bit more. And then you might feel comfortable straightening your legs by reaching your heels towards the ground. Take a nice big breath in. And I like to let out these horse breaths, these like horse lips, they call it. It's a little bit of practice of playing, because that's what you'll need to do with a child, right? Horse lips. Good. Just to make things a bit easier on myself, I'm going to move that blanket out of the way, look up between the hands, and go for a little walk here, little steps as I get back to the top of the mat. Feet are wide and parallel. Inhale, flatten out the back. And then exhale, maybe go a little deeper into the legs. Hands can stay on the shins if you like. Good. A little bend into the knees as you push the floor away. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, lift the heart to the hands. Exhale and settle. Relax the arms by your sides. Tadasana. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge and dive down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees. And now take a big step back with that right leg. Get some padding if you need it underneath your knee, and then rest that right knee down. Maybe even walk your left foot to the edge of your mat a little bit more. Hands are to the inside of the left leg. Squeezing the knee in just a little bit towards your triceps so that it's not flaring out to the side. Just keeping that little bit of a sense of control. And then creating little U-like shapes with your pelvis again. Side to side, up and down. Good. And we'll start to straighten out that left leg. Moving the hips back. You want to stand over the right knee with your hips, right? So you're not sinking far back here. You're just going to stay straight up and down in that right thigh. As you then straighten out the left leg, you might need to move the foot forward like I did. You might even find that it's a little bit easier to intend the leg to straight if you've got some lift under the hands, so the blocks are nearby if you need them. Isometrically. So that means that you're doing a movement without actually creating a change in the shape of your body. So isometrically means I'm going to pull the heel back without it actually leaving the spot that it's on the ground. And that will help to activate muscles throughout the entire leg, stabilizing joints while I pull that left hip back and maybe bow down a little bit more. Nice long breaths. Good. You can start to bend that left knee again. Maybe move your blocks out of the way now. Good. And just take that left foot back first, then make your way into downward facing dog. Pressing into the hands, getting the bum up high, reaching down through the heels. Big breath in. Let's do horse breath. And again. Good. You can bring your knees down and come up to sit on your heels. So horse breath or horse lips is great for just really encompassing this feeling of release on your exhale, which can be great preparation for the birth process whenever we're having a sensation of a contraction and just feeling the need to let some of that energy go. This is one way we can create some softness. Great. So we are going to come and stand on our knees. Of course, if you still want some padding underneath your knees, you can do that in these positions. I don't seem to find it as necessary, so I'm going to move it aside. And we're standing up on the knees. And we're going to start by taking the right leg out to the side, turning the toes out. So this is like a modified warrior two, where we've got the back leg on the ground. So the right toes are pointing out. My left leg is kind of off my mat to the side, and you can choose if you want to have your left toes tucked under or the foot pointed. See what helps you find your balance the best here. Okay, and take your hands out to the sides, look over the right fingertips, and we're going to move with our breath in and out of a warrior two bend with this right knee. So as you exhale, bend into it, and then inhale, come back. Exhale, and in. This rocking motion is great for opening up the pelvis, getting the stretch that we might crave without overstretching any of the joints. Let's do two more. Good. And this time your legs stay straight. I'm actually going to turn my toes so that they're now facing the camera over there. Good. And then take that right hand down my right leg, take my left arm up overhead. Nice big side stretch. You still want to feel that lift in both side bodies, both sides of the body. I think I put my plurals in the wrong places there. Good. Beautiful. Inhaling up. And we'll change sides. So start by just bringing that right knee back in. And then extending that left leg out. Remember, we're going to turn the left toes out first. Right toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever is going to give you that stability. Hands up, gazing out over the left fingertips, and moving in and out of a bend of the left knee with the breath. Exhale in, and inhale back. Rocking is also a great way to manage pain, so another preparation for the birth process. Whether you're planning to have a natural birth, a vaginal birth, or having a scheduled C-section. I mean, all of it is perfect and beautiful and what's right for you. But if you do find yourself needing to manage contractions, it's good to have a few tricks up your sleeve on how to manage that pain and to work with it. And definitely rocking motions, low sounds, horse lips are all great tools to see us through. Good. Next time you come up, you can stay here. Turn your toes so they're facing the side of your mat now. And then left hand down your leg, right arm up overhead, big side stretch. Nice long breaths. Good. Inhale up and relax the arm down. You can bring that left knee in again. We'll sit down on the heels and then come into what I've been told is called deer stance. I love it. It's a great name. We're just going to take the hips. We're going to move them over to the right. Okay. And now I want you to take that right foot out from underneath you and rest it to your left inner thigh. Right? So your left foot should be beside your pelvis and your right foot is tucked in right here. Good. So again, these are some shapes that I've found have been really helpful for the sensations that I happen to feel in my pelvis and lower back during pregnancy. For some people, this might actually aggravate things. So listen to your body and respect it. That's the key part. Listening, we talk about it all the time. The next step is then respecting it, right? So if this is just not working for you, you can take any other seated position and come into a seated twist with me here. So I'm going to take my right hand behind, left hand to my left knee, roll the shoulders back, look back, Take a few nice deep breaths here as I keep the torso and the spine as tall and as long as possible. And just gentle twists around. The bigger that baby gets inside of us, the less opportunity there will be to twist the spine. But we can always try and get some movement in the thoracic. So roll the shoulders around and even use your left shoulder blade to try and push your chest around a little bit more so that you can get some mobility up there in the upper body. Good. On your inhale, come out of it. And I like to do a little counter twist here to the other side. Good. And we'll change sides. So to get into this, just to be sure we don't get too confused, let's just come back onto our knees. And then sit the hips over to the left. Untuck the left foot from underneath you so that's now resting on your right inner thigh. Hopefully you found yourself in some version of the same on the other side now. Good. You might want to just sit straight here with this. There's a certain weight on the hips and the pelvis, an asymmetrical shape. The right hip is a bit lifted off the ground, and that can create a bit of interesting tension. If it's painful, you can always prop the hip up. I tend to find that it's kind of nice to try and sink into it. Listen and respect. Left hand behind to help you sit tall. Right hand comes to your left knee. Roll the shoulders back. Turn and look back behind you. Nice open twist. With that right shoulder blade even pushing the thoracic spine around a little bit more. So it's like you can actually, like there was a hand back here just giving you a little something extra through the upper body though, right? We're not going to get the same level of twisting in the lumbar spine that we got pre-pregnancy, nor would we want to, right? Because baby didn't show up for a twist today. Baby doesn't need a twist. We're trying to twist for ourselves. Good. And inhale your way out. Exhale into a little counter twist. Good. And come back to center. And you can uncross those legs. Maybe you want to give them a little shake. And we'll just do a short Shavasana here, a final rest. And this is where all of those wonderful props can come in really handy. I like to have a pillow for my head. I'm going to have a bolster for between my legs. And some people might even want to have something to hold up the belly. And we do side lying. The belly can sometimes get heavy as it sags towards the ground and create some pulling and discomfort there. You might want to just give yourself a little something underneath your belly when you get down there. So we're going to lie down on our left side. And I like to have a bolster because it ends up being a cushion both between my knees and my ankles, right? So it can give me an even amount of spacing in the entirety of the lower leg. Stretch that left arm out. Come to rest. Close your eyes. And if this position doesn't quite work for you, maybe you're still very comfortable lying on your back. You're welcome to do that. For your final rest in a yoga practice, a legs up the wall pose can be really nice too. Maybe you prefer to be on your right side. I know it's recommended to be on your left. But there's nothing wrong with lying on your right side if that's actually just more comfortable for you. And whatever you do, do see if you can find that shape and position where you can settle your body down again. Let your breath become slow. And start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale completely right to the bottom. And taking your movements super slow here as you gently start to sit yourself back up. You may or may not want to sit on a prop again, whatever way that's going to feel most comfortable for you here now. And bring your hands together in the space of your heart. The light in me bows to the light in you and the light in your unborn child. Namaste.